Well. Hey, guys. Old Man G here, RDS back again. And it's in the title, guys. It's in the title, guys. Mistakes cost us. Obviously, I know it's quite late. I think for those of you in the UK anymore, it was Bayern Munich 4, Manchester United 3. In what was a very a very weird game. I'm gonna say. I think it was a very, very weird game. I think I generally have mixed feelings about the game. I think I think the first thing I'll say is that like it's interesting how I think I don't know if it's Twitter or social media, but it's very interesting to see how very revisionist people are. Um, and I'll talk. And one of them is in the air of the goalkeeper, but the other is in regarding the match. Like I posted a tweet, I think, at halftime and saying, so people are angry. I don't see any United fan channel or on Twitter that said that we were going to go to the Allianz and basically win this game. I didn't see anybody saying that. I didn't see anybody predicting the win. If you look at my preview, I didn't predict the win either. I thought we were going to get baptized. So if I'm honest, I was genuinely surprised that certainly for the first 25 minutes, we held onto the ball very well. That surprised me a lot. I didn't expect that like at all. And before the mistake, I think we had the better chances. So I think it's very, I'm seeing a lot of, we're not this, we're not that, blah blah, and it's like, what were people really expecting from a team that has like 7 injuries? Not 7, like 5 injuries, and obviously to 2 others are your Sancho and Antony that are out. You're playing, you're essentially almost your second string back line, a midfield that basically needs to change ASAP. I.e., we need Amrabat and Mainu, one of the two innocent, because Ericsson has no legs. And the only right wing option being Palestri, who actually had an okay game today. Actually, loved the dribbling and stuff. So I just think that context is important. We analyze this game in that like it wasn't a circuit baptism. It could have been definitely, and I think a lot of people are going to focus on we lost the game because of Onana's mistake, which I don't think is correct. And it's a wrong way to look at it. I look at this game as in a weird way, I think we actually played in parts well. I'm actually happy that we're actually able to even score 3 goals. Because one of the things I was concerned about and have been concerned about for a while is Manchester United not actually being able to score. I mean, what was it? We scored 1 goal against Wolves. Dodgy, Jamie, I know. We didn't score against Spurs. We scored 1 goal against Arsenal. And we scored, I think, 1 goal against Brighton. And then we did score 3 goals against Nottingham Forest, fair enough. But generally speaking, we've only been able to score 1 goal. So the fact that we were able to actually score 3 goals away to a good Bayern side Allianz, who were near enough at full strength, I think was actually really good. And I want to talk about the positives before I go into the game, because I've had some time to think. I think I had some time, to think about it. And I just think that big up, Don Ragnar chat. I should so just from Onana to Onana. See, Eunice is coming. Eric 10 Lakers, the only way to watch United play. Eric 10 Lakers, the only way to watch 90 minutes. I mean, we need to be a little bit we need to put things into perspective. Like, for starters, like Onana was literally in the Champions League final last season. I think that, yes, I have no doubt that De Gea is a better shot stopper than Onana. I've always said De Gea was one of the best shot stoppers in the world. However, he still made mistakes, a lot of mistakes. And 2, the reality is that like with Onana playing, with the ball playing he makes, whatever people say, it actually puts less pressure on us. The amount of times teams will literally press De Gea, press Maguire, etc., to make mistakes was laughable last season. And you can see that in the game against Sevilla. The 2 goals we conceded, they just pressed us. They put pressure on De Gea because he knew he's terrible at his feet. Whereas against Onana, like, you can already see teams can't do that. And if we play through their press, before you know it, you're through and goal, So I still think it's I still think it's a bit harsh of people to blame. It was obviously a bad mistake. I'm not gonna lie, he should say that. But how many United fans saw Onana play in Milan last season? As someone who's follows Serie A, I've seen that. I'm like, yeah, I've seen Onana make mistakes in Serie A. He's a goalkeeper. He makes them. It's difficult at the highest level to do that. He shouldn't be doing that, but it is what it is. And at the end of the day, like, and I've got to say something controversial here. I was actually more mad at the second goal because mistakes happen in football. We concede goals, yes, but we're Manchester United. You concede 1 goal, your mentality's in the right place. You come back into the game. The issue that I had was the second goal, because you're like, okay, we concede 1 goal, so what? Head back in the game. Okay, head back in the game and focus, and then move on. But the second goal, what we conceded, was again the same lapse in concentration, and again the same type of goal we conceded against Brighton, against to a certain extent Spurs, against Arsenal. This same thing again and again and again. Cut back, no one's marking. In this case, should be Eriksen, goal. And I'm hoping, by the grace of God, that is the end of seeing Casemiro and Eriksen together in the midfield. I hope that either Amrabat or Mainu is available for. I mean, Mount is still an issue, but even then, I'm thinking, you know what? If you just tell Mount to just track back more, he'd be better than Eriksen. Like, it's mad. Red Devil Weekly says, can't say long, but I have to say it's slightly wrong that we played the 6th game. We played well for about 20 minutes over those games. Yeah, I see that, but I also think it's context though. I think you have to contextualize this, because one, you're playing against likes of Arsenal, Spurs away, Brighton, teams in good form, and a Bayern Munich. This is not like we're playing against Luton, Bournemouth, Burnley, etc. That's the first thing. And then the second thing as well is that we are in an injury crisis right now. I don't want to make excuses for more time, but like, I do think it's important to place context in these things, because then when suddenly we go on a run, people are going to go, Eric Ten Hag's going to turn it around. And I'm going, no, we've got our players back. That's what's happened. Not that we've somehow magically sort of better. We just happen to have our players back. That's what's happened. And I think that what I would say is that, like, I have noticed the way that we play, we have actually improved. So, against Wolves, I think we were awful. We were so bad. But I think in patches today, I think we played well against a Bayern side at the Allianz that have not lost a group stage game ever, that are basically near enough full strength. I don't have anything to be ashamed about. And like I said, I don't really know what people were expecting. Like, were people expecting us to go to the Allianz and win? Like, I don't know, like, because like I said, I predicted that it was going to be a difficult game for us to win. So, on top of the fact that we had our 7 injuries, like, I don't know. I just don't be revisionist. Is basically what I'm saying. Don't be like, I hope United don't get baptized, and then at the end of the game, you're like, oh, we should have really won that if we didn't make mistakes. That for me is being revisionist. So what you're saying is United actually performed better than your expectations, which is what happened to me in my opinion. King Kong says, as a Bayern fan, we should have done much better. We missed so many chances. We need a new goalkeeper and a DM. Yeah, I actually think that, as I posted a tweet, I was like, Bayern conceded 3 goals at home to a team with arguably 5 of their starting 11, possibly 6 even, maybe 7 if you could out. This was not Manchester United's, like, You know, people are like, we defended poorly. It's like, well, yes, we're playing our second choice, and they're playing for like 90 minutes as well, you know. So I'm not trying to give excuses, but like I don't. But like you need to contextualize results sometimes, is what I'm saying. And like I said, for me, the most disappointing goals for us to concede was the second and the fourth goal. The third goal, I don't care what anyone says, that's not a handball. That's not a handball. It's not a handball. I'm sorry, it's not a handball. I don't know what Eriksen's supposed to do there. I'm sorry. That killed us. I genuinely don't know what why the Champions League what's it called again? The Champions League sorry, rules are different. People saying that, oh, the Champions League rules are like, yeah, but they have to be common sense. Like, as much as I don't like the Premier League for what it does sometimes, I will give the Premier League this in terms of like the way that they interpret handball will generally like make sense. Look at the context, look what happened, look at the distance between, you know. So yeah, I certainly think that handball obviously it hurt us. It hurt us quite a bit. Winning 4-3 is a loss for us. We should have won at least 6-1 in that game. Yeah, well, this is what I'm saying. I expected a baptism from Bayern. I did. And the reality is, like I said, for the first 30 minutes, like, you know, I look at Bayern's goals and I'm like, the most impressive goal was the fourth one from a mentality point of view and the finish point of view. The first three are the first one is a goalkeeping error. The second one, Eriksen should really track back, done it before. And the third one is a penalty, which I think was Fugazi. Other than that, you know, win, lose or draw, you have to perform for 90 minutes. We are Moments FC. But I mean, but you're right. But again, context, you know, at least that's what I think. Shout out to Rasmus in the chat, man. It was 4-3 and we never looked like we could get anywhere near a draw. And then we're not going to draw. No, yeah. I think obviously first 30 minutes, yes. I think fundamentally, I think that penalty decision killed us. Like that's what I think actually killed the game. I think when Rasmus scores that goal, when Rasmus scores that goal, you see like, right, okay, we're in this game. Come on, we got it. We scored early, right? Let's do this. We can come back and do this. Let's see what happens. But as soon as that third goal goes in, that kills the game, in my opinion. And for me, it was a harsh penalty. I do think that if that penalty wasn't given, I think a 2-1 with us in ascendancy, we possibly could have gotten a draw. But at 3-1, I think heads dropped, people weren't interested, and then suddenly Casemiro scores a pretty good goal, scrappy goal, but good goal, and then you're thinking, maybe late, who knows? And then we concede again. So, you know, I'm hoping that as soon as, you know, Varane is coming back, Mount and Amrabat coming back, I want to see how we do when we have Varane, Casemiro, Amrabat, maybe Mainoo, whatever it is, in that midfield to shore up. Because I'm not going to lie, I think most of our goals that we conceded, okay, yes, Onana made a mistake, but certainly the second goal and the fourth goal, and even the third goal, are all our midfielders again. People are going at our defense, but like I genuinely think it's our midfield. Like, oh, if De Gea was like where I was like, yeah, but am I thinking of the wrong season? It's that we conceded 7 goals to Liverpool and 6 to City. Like, and our midfield is still is worse. Because I actually think that Fred actually is better than Eriksen in terms of the tenacity and things and stuff like that. It's a worse midfield. So both the fact that even before the penalty, Eriksen is the one that makes the mistake for the corner. Second goal, Eriksen again. Why aren't you following your man? Fourth goal, that's actually on Casemiro. Even though shout out to Cassie, he scored a brace somehow. But it's on the midfield. I'm sorry. It is, you know, and for me, the hope on this season going forward is that is the midfield needs to be revolutionized, that midfield. That's it. Because Ericsson, McTominay, etc., not good enough. Apparently, Van der Beek isn't good enough. So we need Amrabat, Mainu, and even maybe Mount, to be honest, because at least Mount has legs. You know, you could beat lame Bayern Munich. I don't think so. To be honest, says Chiefs, our midfield needs sorting. Ericsson should be stopped. Exactly. So many negatives and positives. Happy Rasmus point. Yeah, exactly. This is what I'm saying. You know, I wanna be, because it's very easy to be very negative about Manchester United on this side, but I genuinely do believe that there are a lot of positives. There are positives to take. I'm happy for Rasmus, as you said. Great for Rasmus to get his first goal. I think that, you know, now that, you know, and to be honest, when Martial came on, Martial actually looked okay as well. You know, so to be honest, if we can manage Martial's fitness, and obviously Rasmus starting, I think that we'll score goals. And, you know, when you're, I mean, you know, again, unlucky. What was it? When was it out? The Brighton, yeah, again, unlucky, you know, because moments, guys, you know, because you think, you know, this season you think, oh, if the ball hadn't gone out, if Garnacho was onside, if we got a penalty against Spurs, moments, you know. But I think, you know, and for me, that's a good sign because he's getting in the right areas. Unlucky with not getting the goal against Brighton. You come play against Bayern, you get a goal. So suddenly, right now, we have a number 9 who, oh, this guy only scored. And it's like, okay, he's scored his goal, right? Let's see if he can go. And away against Burnley, I think, is the perfect opportunity for basically him to do that. You know, so for me, Palestri as well. Likewise, I think Palestri, at least for a while, actually had Davies on toast. His dribbling, he felt like an actual winger, Palestri. So I actually, against Burnley, I would start Palestri again. I would. Him and then Reguilon as well. Defensively, still a little bit. But although you could make an argument, how good is Luke Shaw defensively? But going forward for Loney signing, Reguilon's actually been doing okay. So there are positives to take from this game, it's my opinion. But you know, we need the midfield to be sorted. Rashford, actually, I disagree with you though, Chi, because I actually think Rashford should have come off. Rashford wasn't good. I mean, he was okay-ish when Martial came on, but like those subs, Rasmus. I mean, Rasmus coming off makes sense for Burnley, Plestre as well. But I mean, Rashford for me, I don't know. This is this is almost kind of the Ollie favoritism thing again, where is Ten Hag now? Is there favoritism here of Rashford? Because one of the criticisms I had with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was, I wouldn't be surprised if Rashford is playing 90 minutes 2 days a week, he's gonna get injured. He's gonna get injured. But at least, I guess, we have Garnacho, another wings to come back. So it is what it is. Shout out to Rajit, man. Bayern, yeah, at the end of the day, Bayern have more quality and more finishes, so I can't really hate them that. Man United's got 3 goals moving forward, is embarrassing. Good hard UCL goal. Yeah. Would Bruno, Amrabat, Mount midfield be okay? Possibly. We'll see. I want to see how Amrabat would play, but right now, for me, I think you still stick Casemiro, but you play Casemiro and Amrabat and Bruno. For me, you can't play at the Ericsson, Casemiro, Bruno thing can't happen again. For me, even if you play Mount, you can't play Ericsson. Or Ericsson is a sub. That's it. He's not a player that you play for more than 70 minutes. All the goals we conceded, I thought we could do better. And to be honest, this goes show we can the best teams if we connect together as a team. Yeah, exactly. Ten Hag with the extra head shake once they're thrown home after that third goal went in. Says Don Hunker. Danielson, we played very well today, and I'm pretty sure we'll manage to win Bayern Munich. And this is what I'm saying, you know. So because what I would say is that and that's why the result was important. because as far as I'm aware, maybe someone could correct me in the chat. Top in the group is about head to head. It's not on goal difference. It's about head to head. So if United can hopefully, because Bayern are going to beat Galatasaray and Copenhagen, and I'm assuming they will. And those two teams drew to do today. So I put my chances on United hopefully beating Galatasaray at home. So if we can beat Galatasaray at home, if we can basically win our games, beat Copenhagen home and away, beat Galatasaray, etc. I fancy our chances with a fully fit squad to face Bayern Munich at home and win. And if we win by 1 goal, then we actually technically top the group, because I think it's head to head, and I think it's also based on away goals next. So yeah, it's head to head, and then the away goals, and then goals scored. So because we scored 3 away goals at Bayern, if we beat them 2-1, 1-0, 3-2, etc., then we'll basically go ahead of them. So there you go. Of course, bringing into context, do we have to recognize that we don't score 3 against a fully fit Bayern? Our 3 goals are not true picture of opponents. Are on paper 4-3 reads exciting. I mean, but wait, hold on. Do we have to recognize that we don't score 3? What do you mean don't score 3 against a fully fit Bayern? Who are Bayern missing exactly? That looked like a pretty full strength team. Aside from maybe you could bring in, Musiala, Kane, Sané, Gnabry. Like, who exactly was? Neuer, I guess. Though Neuer's been out injured for almost a year now, so you can't really put it as an example. So, who exactly was missing from this Bayern team? Our 3 goals are not a true picture of our performance. On paper, 4-3 reads exciting, but like I said, like, they're at home, and for me, Bayern are at full strength. So you're talking about our performance, but we're 7 of our first team players are out. So how can you say that it's not a picture of a true performance when you're not taking into account the fact that we're not playing like our strongest starting 11. Our entire defense is out. Our midfield is basically out, effectively. So, and Bayern is effectively, that's as far as I'm aware, Kimmich, Goretzka, that's essentially their starters. Kane is, Sané is, Gnabry is, Musiala is, Kim Min-jae and Upamecano are the starters. Davies, who's missing? So it's not so the context is we've got 7 first team players out, and we're putting 3 against Bayern at the Allianz. That for me is the context. So I'd want to see a situation when we actually are fully fit or close to being fully fit going against this Bayern side. That's what I'm saying. Also, the decision making on 10 active was okay. He should learn to make stuff early. Marshall showed he can still operate from the flank. Why not? Yeah, there is an interesting conversation to be had about, Marshall off the left with Højlund. Because I noticed when he took Palestri and Højlund off, I think and he put Garnacho on. Rashford went to the right and Garnacho actually went to the left. Rashford right. So there is something to be said. Could you have a situation where you put, and I've always said this, I always said Martial is better on the left. I've always said this. As opposed to number 9, which I think Højlund actually is a number 9. His hold-up play is good as one. For me, maybe you try Martial left, Højlund in the middle, and Palestri right. I actually think that could work. That could cook. I genuinely think that could cook. And Martial, in my opinion, is far less selfish than Rashford is personally. So, that's my new sense. I go into the play rates in a second. I'm just going through your comments, guys. Artists, we can play better. I'm glad it's out of the way now. Today we were here and there. I think we can still get through and be better. Yeah, exactly. Like, I like to put things into perspective, because at the end of the day, 1, I didn't expect us to win on the Islands, but 2, I still expect us to get through this group, which is the main thing, getting through the group. I looked at Galatasaray and Copenhagen today, and I'm not impressed. And the fact that they drew is good for us. So Bayern are probably going to beat their way to, I think, Copenhagen. So Bayern are probably going to beat Copenhagen. We need to beat Galatasaray at home. If we beat Galatasaray at home, I fancy, and we played Copenhagen, I think, again at home. So I fancy our chances beating Galatasaray Copenhagen at home. That's 6 points. And then, you know, you probably beat, I think, is it Galatasaray away? No, yeah. And then it's, sorry, Copenhagen away, sorry. You get 9 points. And I think, to be honest, if we win our next 3, as in we beat Galatasaray at home, Copenhagen, and then we somehow beat Copenhagen away, I think that's us qualified. I think that's us. I think that's us qualified actually. So we win our next 3, we're through, and then it's a question of, you know, do you go for try and beat Bayern at Old Trafford to get top of the group? In that sense, that's a free hit as far as I'm concerned. You know, my bet was over 3G with goals and Bayern. Fair enough. Otis, can we still qualify in your opinion? Yeah, as I said, I still think so. Just need to start winning. First, we need to play better. Yeah, I've said this several times in chat that I'm not going to make an assessment on this United team until I see us at least being back to close to what our full team looks like, personally. And I also think that now, you know, we've had a difficult run. Arsenal, Spurs, Newcastle, Arsenal, Spurs, Brighton, informed teams, and then Bayern Munich in our first 6 games. The games that we should have won, West Ham, Nottingham, we have, I'll bet difficultly, we have won. So now our next 4 or 5 games in the Premier League and in Champions League, Crystal Palace, home and I think both home games, EFL, Burnley, obviously Galatasaray at home. I think we've got another bottom team. I can't remember who it is. I mean, it might be Bournemouth or something. But essentially, we have a lot of winnable games. And so I think this period from now to when we face City at Old Trafford, we need to use to build the comps, build momentum, and get to winning. So a win away to Burnley, I think that'll kick the momentum, especially because players are coming back. Varane is coming back, Mount is coming back, Amrabat is coming back, Mainoo's coming back, so our midfield is going to be different. And then on top of that, you know, hopefully by the time Bayern come, you'll get Luke Shaw and Wan-Bissaka going to be back as well. You know, King Kong says, I feel like we'll do much better in the second game and win by more than 1 goal at Old Trafford. Maybe it depends, because like I said, we'll be because I think that game will be in, is it December or January? I have to have a look. I think it might be December, but by December, I would expect Manchester United's full starting 11 to be back fit, and that includes Shaw, Wan-Bissaka, etc. Shigo says, Seek says, I believe in the boys. I back them 100%. As do I. Yeah, and that's, I mean, that's an improvement over last season, or Bayern missing chances. I don't know. Our team should get to get much better by second game, so I doubt United will beat Bayern. Like I said, I think that I want to make an assessment when United have their, because like I said, I'm not saying that we'll win, but you know, when you have 7 first team players out, like that United side is not United's even close to United starting 11, like at all. You know, so who knows? I don't know. Why do we have injury that makes a difference? Can't see Amrabat. He ain't kicked the ball. Hopefully he will buy and have 11 injuries. What? Hopefully he will buy and have 11 injuries, and even you've got a keeper and a DM in him. Some could argue positions. What 11 injuries to who? You say like Big T. Like I don't get this. What do injuries make a difference? Can't see Amrabat. I've told you about Wan-Bissaka, Shaw, Varane. That's basically our starting back 4. Like that's part of our starting back 4. And Amrabat and Mainoo clearly are holding midfielders that we need because he clearly doesn't want to play Eriksen. Mount is also another player that's also injured that would probably have played in the Eriksen role. And obviously Sancho and Anthony, you know, enough said, that's out of the coach's hands. So No, like, you know, and especially if we're going to talk about how defensively we were an issue today, how can people complain about the defense, which, you know, should be good, but then not contextualize the fact that this was the second choice defense? That doesn't make sense to me. And the fact that you say they need him, yeah, that's them saying they need, like, this Bayern 11 injuries. What are they? They need a new keeper. Yeah, but that doesn't have anything to do with the fact that this is part of their starting 11. And a DM, okay, but that doesn't make a difference though. Like, they're still part of the starting 11 though. Like, I could say that United need new fullbacks. We need a new right winger. We need a new cam. Like, they're still part of the starting 11 though. We will go on a winning run from now to Man City. Season ends in May. Exactly. Bayern were not at it tonight. They only scored 4 because it was us they played. Well, you know, you can only, well, then that's on them. Because if they played against another team, they would have got punished. So happy to see Real Madrid, though they are not my main team. Yeah. I mean, this is what I'm saying. It's like, I just think that people need to relax still. And that's not me being overtly optimistic, because I was actually quite, the weird thing about it is that, like, I was actually quite cynical at the end of last season when a lot of people were celebrating the Carabao Cup and third place, etc. But now I'm seeing people almost overreact the other way, and I feel like I'm going the other way. I'm going, well, let me just save my judgment first and see what happens with this team. You know, because I've been here before in Manchester United where people react, and at the end of the day, like I said, all I want is, I just want to see what this United team are when we have our players back fit. And I do think objectively, I've seen an improvement in the way that this United team plays. We're obviously lacking confidence, and I think if we lose to Burnley at the weekend, then I'm going to start to get worried. Okay, if we lose to Burnley in the weekend, then okay, I will start to be worried, and I will start to severely question Ten Hag's in the dressing room. But this weekend against Burnley is a chance for us to basically go on a good run, because of the amount of fixtures we have to build some confidence. And fundamentally, I think that we should take on, like, we should focus on, not want to say focus on the positive and negatives, but there are positives to take from this game, is what I'm saying. RDS, all positive thing here. Only Liverpool, City have scored 3 or more at the ends before tonight. Also, those teams went on to win things that seem to. Well, there you go. I know. I just think that people like dismissing the 3 goals that we scored. There were 3 good goals for a start. Big up Rasmus. Big up the free kicks as well. And it's like, oh, people saying, well, if Bayern Munich were like this, if Bayern Munich were that, it's like, yeah, but the goals that we concede to Bayern Munich, a lot of them were fugazi. So, you know, I could also make the argument, well, what happens if Onana didn't make that mistake? You know? No, think Bayern need a new goalkeeper. Yeah, they do. I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with that. My point is, our first players who are missing have not performed good enough when they have played. Well, but based on, like, what are we basing this on? Are we basing on this season or last season? And also, how can you say that when we've only played 5 games? Like, Varane basically played 1 game, who's our first centre back, and is out injured. So we're judging Varane not being good enough based on one game. And that game, he scored the goal. Luke Shaw, same. Wan-Bissaka, I think Wan-Bissaka's been fine. I don't think he's been bad. And Amrabat and Mainu, obviously, especially Mainu look good in preseason. We don't know, so I don't understand. I don't understand that personally. So unless you're saying that if Luke Shaw, Wan-Bissaka, Varane come back into that back 4, that it makes 0 difference, or that Mainu, Amrabat, in the midfield. So Mainu and Amrabat are worse than Christian Eriksen. That Anthony or Sancho might not be able to give something. I can give you that. The right issue, Anthony Sancho not been good enough. But the others, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I'm already worried this was the most lopsided 4-3 ever. I don't know. Like I said, were you expecting to, like, let me know in the chat, guys. Were people expecting us to go to Bayern and win or get a point? Like, I don't understand. I feel like I'm in the minority here. Like, if you watch the preview, I didn't expect us to win at Bayern. I actually thought we were going to get lubricated. So, are people? What I don't get is, are people like? What was the? I'm just curious. What was the expectation? Did people generally think that United, with 7 injuries, were going to go to Bayern and win? Like, I generally don't. I don't know, because from what I saw on Twitter and from what I saw, from what I saw from United channels, even the great Mark Bowbridge predicted a loss. So I don't get it. Like, people are upset that we lost when they predicted we would lose. You got to help chat. You got to help me how that makes sense. The only reason why I see people being upset is it has to be because you actually saw that in parts we played well, and you're frustrated in the goals that we conceded. I.e., what that means is that we actually did play well. We performed better than your expectations. That has to be the case. We must have performed better than expectations, because if we didn't, then that's what I don't get that. Bellingham's is doing good, man. Bellingham's doing good. They 3 crap goals. Last goal literally doesn't count. Where it does, it was like scoring down to Casemiro tried to turn, fell down, and locked into a goal, and Rasmus was deflected. Okay, but then Bayern, but then Bayern's goals were also fugazi. First goal was a mistake from onana. One of the goals was a penalty, and then the third goal, the second goal, basically no one's marking Eriksen. And I'll give them a second goal. Fourth goal, obviously United are going to chase the game. So it's not like Bayern Munich's goals were they scored particularly outstanding either. So, but a goal's a goal, and it's deflected. Okay, so what? Yeah, exactly. Hope we're coming back. Exactly. Surgery. We were getting 4 on 3 when we weren't even attacking. Tom was last in the box and some runs when it was freshest. I saw no real effort in the team. I'd rather get cooked than have this false image. We were getting 4 on 3 when attacking. Well, towards the end, we're chasing the game. So, and Tom was last in the box when it was his freshest. Yeah, well, McTominay isn't good enough for Manchester United. I've made that clear. And hopefully, when we get our actual midfield back, I won't see McTominay or Eriksen ever again. For me, I don't want to see Casemiro starting with Eriksen and McTominay ever again. But it is what it is. But yeah, everyone is fine to have their opinion, and it's fine. But at the end of the day, I think my thing is that I don't understand. I always base my opinion on what my expectation is. So I don't understand people who predicted that we would lose and then are mad that we lost. For me, that just makes no sense. Like, you should have an expectation based on where we are with the club, where we are, and then assess things from there. So I didn't expect us to win. The fact that it was a 4-3, the fact that we weren't absolutely demolished, I'm like, okay, fair enough. At least that's what anyway. But each to their own. David uses defibrillator money to be, yeah, exactly. But we have nothing. We don't have any alternatives. Like, McTominay was the only person there. That's it. RDS also here is one. McTominay can also play as I mean, he can. McTominay should play further forward, is my opinion. I've always said McTominay should play further forward. It's my thing. No, not even at the end of the game. In like certain minutes, he weren't putting in real attacks, yet somehow they had 4-on-3. Crap. I don't know what these is the game, because I think one of the things that surprised me was that I thought that actually would actually be what I thought we're going to do is we're going to the islands away. We're going to be actually quite compact and defensive. And then we're going to counter. That's what I thought was going to happen. I didn't actually certainly for the first 30 minutes of the game, I didn't actually expect us to actually have have as much possession as we actually had until obviously we conceded the goal. I agree that I think the transition in the final third for a while weren't great against Bayern Munich. But yeah, I don't know. I guess from what we may obviously be looking at different games, but from what I saw and the context going into the game, it didn't particularly surprise me, and it's more annoying the fact of the man of the goals that we conceded. Is the way that I see it anyway. I expect us every game to give everything from whistle to whistle. We have not done that once this season. We have had moments in every game, but we are not leaving everything on the pitch. Yeah, but I mean, I hear that. But I also think that it's contextual. I see a United side that has issues on and off the field, and I see a United side that's played with injuries, and I see a United side that we're obviously going to be playing lots of games, especially from now when the Carabao Cup comes and Champions League comes. We're going to be playing 3 games a week. So of course, I want to see players put 90% on the field and kiss the badge, etc., etc. The reality is that I've not seen that from a United side for quite some time. But what I would say though is that it's still early in the season. We're still only 5-6 games in the season so far. So I don't want to make assessments yet until at least until we're sort of around Christmas time, is what I'm saying. If you know me, I'm not. I try not to be a reactionary merchant. A prediction is what you see happening. You can be upset about what you saw happen. Yeah, you can. Like I said, I'm disappointed, obviously, by the result, but it still have to. It still has to be contextualized. It'd be like saying, let's say, I don't know, Luton Town play against City. You presume that they're going to say, I'm not saying that the United team is like Bayern, it's the same thing, but you could assume to them they're like, well, yeah, we expect to lose against Manchester City. If they lose 3-0, they can't be like, we lost 3-0. You know what I mean? It's like, well, you didn't predict that they were going to win, and they're clearly a superior team and they're clearly in a better situation. So they're clearly going to outplay you. So it's not a surprise. Doesn't mean you're not disappointed that you lost 3-0 to City, but it was expected. My expectation is to lose because they are better. I always assume max effort from us. Bayern weren't playing to their max yet. We weren't taking advantage. Try for fuck's sake. I mean, maximum effort from this team. I mean, if you look at the stuff on social, I'm not entirely sure, to be honest. But I don't see that aggression anymore. Dude is always jogging behind the ball, hoping Amrabat will make the difference. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. For me, the engine room comes from the midfield. I actually feel like defending our defense quite a bit, because personally for me, the midfield is leggy and aged. I love Casemiro, but he's not quick. Neither is Eriksen, and neither is McTominay, and Bruno doesn't track back a lot. The midfield, for me, is the main issue in this team. I'll stress it. So when people talk about the effort, not pressing, etc., when you have a midfield that's as leggy and as ineffective as our midfield is currently right now, it affects the rest of the field. So My hope for this season is that if Mainu, if Amrabat come in and give a bit of physical, because as I said to guys before, like when Fred was in that midfield with Casemiro and Bruno, we were balanced. Like whatever you say about Fred technically not being good enough, he puts maximum effort in, wins the ball, fouls, does all these things. I hate the fact that we let him go and we kept McTominay because McTominay doesn't do that. But it is what it is. But you need that physicality. You need that in presence. And we just have players right now that just don't do that. And Marcus Rashford, in my opinion, has epitomized that as well. You know, it's not ideal. Laban says football goal scorer mistakes, but his third game lost. Is this positive transformation? I generally do think that we actually are playing better. And I just think that, like I said, with players coming back, with also a nice run. At the end of the day, we need confidence now as United fans and United team. And we have at least a good 5 games now where we can actually begin to build confidence. That's what this team needs right now, in my personal opinion. Almost everyone's saying, well, yeah, exactly. So that's why, like I said, like it's difficult for me to I'll come to the player end saying because it's almost an hour and I've been reading your comments, but we can agree to disagree. We can agree to disagree is what I'll say. Like people obviously have their opinions of theirs. But I think what I would say is that the players also need to play better. And Ten Hag's decision making still needs to be better. Especially with some of his subs. But I've seen positives, obviously, with Højlund and Palestri. I actually think Reguilon actually was all right, actually, for a lonely left back at Spurs. He's actually wasn't that bad. With injuries obviously coming back. And there's the fact that at the end of the day, like, Ten Hag ain't going to be getting sacked anytime soon. So we've got to see what happens, you know? Bro, that's why the sale, man. That's all I can say, Big T. You know, I'll be honest with you, Big T, and I put my head onto the mast with this, and I will always say this, is that I do not see United winning a major trophy under the current ownership. I'm sorry. People may say it's an excuse, but it's been 10 years of the same pattern. And at the end of the day, yes, okay, you can blame managers. Yes, you can blame the players. Yes, you can say, you know, this is this. But at the end of the day, who buys the players? Who recruits the management? Who makes the directions? It's upper management. And if you have 10 years of persistent failure, so as I said at the start, I was like, if I see in December that we're bought by Qatar, I don't give a crap what happens for the rest of the season. If you tell me, if I go live and I go, guys, Qatar are gonna buy the club, I don't care what happens the rest of the season because I know the future of Manchester United is going to be different and hopefully in a positive direction. But as it stands now, I just can't see it. I can't see it. I'm sorry. We can try. We can compete for cups. We can push for top 5. We can do all these different things, but that's as far as it goes, was my opinion. And I will and I stand by that. Actually, guys, hang in there, United fans. We're going to rise again. Yep, get some optimism there, man. Actually, got to get hooked from time to time as well. He was through tonight. Yep, exactly. I worry, you know, Tony. I worry that Ten Hag is going to be doing like an ollie and just run this guy. It happened, I think. When was that season when we lost to Villarreal on penalties? Like Ollie just kept on playing him and playing him and playing him, and he was awful. And we, you know, so it is what it is. I'll quick finish and I need to go to the comments. Ericsson is going to get sacked if this type of stubbornness and failure from Bruno and Rashford keeps on continuing. I mean, in fairness with the Bruno thing, I mean, Bruno is captain, so we can't drop him. But also, I don't even know, even just from a practical point of view today, like McTominay was the only other midfielder. So Bruno's definitely going to play. So even though people don't like Bruno, like at the end, we actually just don't actually have the midfielders. And I think Eriksen is past it. I agree with you about Rashford though. Now people need to understand that Bruno and Rashford are not those types of players. So we need a proper store and proper recruitment team. Let's quickly go to the player ratings, guys, as we begin to round things up. Because I've been obviously it's been interactive, it's been good, so I like that. We've had some healthy conversation in the chat. We can agree to disagree with certain points. And obviously, I know people. I appreciate people are generally disappointed, and I am as well. I am disappointed as well. So, but I don't know. I don't know. It's weird. I certainly feel less disappointed than I did with the Brighton game. The Brighton game at home was very disappointing. This one, I'm like, there are more positives for me to take out of this game than the Brighton game, where I was generally thinking, I don't know we're going to be lubricated against Bayern Munich, But all we can do as United fans, put it to one side, hope the players do. We go again against Burnley and get a good win. I think a good Burnley are in poor form right now. They're still with Vincent Kompany, so not sacked the manager yet, so no new manager bounce. So we really should be able to. We really have to go out Burnley to win. And if I was Ten Hag, I would definitely go starting Pellistri. And I think hopefully if an Amrabat or a Mainu or even if a Mount is back, hopefully we can get the job done against Burnley, I do believe Farmatine needs some change. If we look at ourselves as a mid-table club, we ain't have a bad start. Yeah, but you're right. But I also think that, I don't think anyone sees Manchester as a mid-table club. I would say, as bad as it sounds, I'd say it's like we're like Arsenal. So not mid-table, but competing for top 4, top 5, cups, that type of thing, but not really being close to compete for the major silverware. That's why I'd say that Manchester United, because quite frankly, that's where United have been for the last 10 years, unfortunately. I know it's crap, but that's where it's been. And you look at Arsenal, and they haven't competed for the Premier League for like what, since it must have been like the early 2000s, mid 2000s. So the fact that it's taken them that long to at least be seen as competitive again, there you go. So yeah, Arsenal, maybe not Spurs, because Spurs haven't won a trophy, so we can't be compared to Spurs. But I would say more similar to Arsenal, frankly. And that's the sad thing, where top 4 is a trophy type of thing. Let's look at the player rating, shall we? Let's quickly. Where's my thing here? Here. Okay. Yeah, 40% possession, 9 shots on target, 4 shots on target. Interesting. I had 19 shots though. So, and obviously pass accuracy fairly similar, fouls fairly similar, cards fairly similar. We actually had even more possession early on in the first half as well. So let's have a look here. So, Onana's obviously, I'll give him Onana a 4. Big up to him. I think that this is what I'm saying. Like I don't like people getting on Onana's back, to be honest. So early on, I never like when we criticize players that have just come to the club. Like, fair enough. Like, this is one of the reasons why I don't really understand why people are so defensive of Sancho, because Sancho's been at the club for almost three years now. People are prepared to throw Ante under the bus last season. This season, okay, you need to step up. But it's like, Sancho's been in the club three seasons now. He should be doing something. Like, give players time to gel. Like, people are going like, and I was like, it's literally 6 games in. Like, let's allow the players that have come in, Højlund, Onana, or Reguilon technically on loan, Amrabat, etc. time to gel into the team and see what they can do. And to be honest, I respect the dude. The dude came out in the I think post-match. He said, "Listen," he took ownership and he said, "Listen, it's my bad. It's my fault. I should have done better." And he took ownership. And that's what we need from these United players, to actually take ownership. So I'm going to back Onana. And I think that that people should back him as well. I'll give him a 4 because of the mistake, because that mistake obviously set the tone. But I'm hoping that he will rise again at the end of the day. And I think that, and football is a confidence game. He needs that confidence. That's what I think anyway. That's what I think. So moving on, Lindelof. It's difficult to give the defense more than 5 when we conceded 4 goals. So I don't think Lindelof did anything I can think of particularly wrong, especially it's because he's standing in for Varane. So maybe give him a 5. Martinez, could he have done better on the second goal? I think to crank over the space, perhaps. But like I said, for me, Eriksen is that guy. Should be. So I'm gonna give I'll give Martinez a 4.5, maybe. Reguilon, I'll give a 5. Actually, 5.5. Actually, think Reguilon actually played quite well. Which I'm surprised by as a lone left back. He was okay, and has actually been one of our better performing players. Same thing against Brighton. So, and I think against Burnley, I think that his attacking ability, because defensively is a bit off, but that's the same with Dallo as well. So, but he's but attacking wise, he's been solid. So, I think that Reguilon was okay. Dallo, did Dallo do anything particularly? I gave Reguilon a 5.5. I think Reguilon was the better fullback to the game, so I'll give Dallo a 5. Eriksen, I'm giving a 3. I'm giving Eriksen a 3. I really, really hope that Eriksen, he's doing something. He's playing FIFA. It's a joke, man. It's a joke. It's a joke. It's a joke. That's a joke. It's a joke. Yeah. I lost track. Sorry. Eriksen's 3. Eriksen for me is a guy who should not be playing more than 70 minutes. I love the guy. I'm happy for him because of obviously him coming back, but he is a bench player, and I want to see either Mount, Amrabat, anybody else. Mount maybe not so much because him and Fernandes occupy the same space, so we need Amrabat or Maine to come in as soon as possible, man. I'm sorry, we do. Hopefully they're back for Burnley. If they're not back for Burnley, they need to be back soon, man. It's a joke. It's a joke. Casemiro, it's weird because he scored 2 goals, 2 very good goals. But I'd argue he cost us that 4th one, which sort of killed us off definitively. And the coordination between him and so I'll give him, even though he scored 2 goals, I've got to give him a 5.5. I can't give him a 6 because him and Eriksen are still culpable for us conceding those goals. The midfield in particular. That's why I'll give. I don't think Fernandes had a terrible game, but I'll give Fernandes a 5 as well. The midfield for me, again, so many times this season has been culpable for our performances this season. Moving on, Rashford 4. We're running this dude into the ground, and he should have been subbed off for me instead of Palestri. Maybe he wants to rest Palestri and Hoyland, but we're just going to burn this guy into the ground. His form is going to. We're going to try to play him into form, but it's not working for me. If I'm honest, if I was, I mean, I would actually prefer to start Martial, but he's injury prone, so maybe start Garnacho on the left, Hoyland on the right, in the middle, and Palestri, and see what happens with that. Personally, there certainly will be less selfish anyway. Palestri for me, I'll give Palestri and Hoyland. I'll give Palestri a 6. I think Palestri was a breath of fresh air as a winger. You know, dribbling, actually like seeing someone dribble, trying to take on players. You know, like actually being a winger. Something that Marcus Rashford isn't doing, and some of the other wingers aren't doing. Like, it was actually refreshing to see Palestri actually play as a winger. I'm not saying he couldn't improve, but remember, he's still learning, still adapting. But at the end of the day, it's like Palestri's doing what I want a winger to do. You know, so for me, you know, until Palestri starts, personally, Palestri starts. And Hoyland, I'll give a 6.5. No one's getting a 7 today because we lost, but 6.5 for Hoyland. He got his first goal for Manchester United. He was unlucky against Brighton. And I think that you know, hopefully it comes from. But the thing I like about Hoyland is that, like, you can see that he's a number 9. You can see, I mean, he's not a perfect number 9. He needs to maybe make time with runs a bit better, but I'm like, this is a number 9. Not this is a makeshift number 9 like we've had for so many years in Martial, Rashford, etc. You know, even to a certain extent, Ronaldo at times. But you know, someone like Cavani, who, like, you make your runs, you're intelligent, you get in the space, finishing inside the box, etc. That type of number 9. You know. So I'm hoping that it works out for Hoyland, man. But he's got his goal in a CL, and I think that if we can actually create for him, which hopefully likes a Palestri can do, I think he'll crack on and score goals. You know, and you got to remember, guys. You know, Hoyland is still only 20 years old. You know, we wanted Kane, we wanted a senior striker, we didn't get him, so we're putting a lot of pressure on Hoyland to score goals for us. But hopefully he does. Hopefully he does. So for me, Hoyland is the man. I would say between Hoyland and Palestri to be man of the match, personally. Big up Lucky seeing in the chat. I thought we could still be 7-0. Mainu has the raw talent. I feel we don't have the right environment for him to flourish in. The only way you can get better is you play, personally. And I still think that him playing alongside Casemiro is much better than Eriksen playing alongside him. And Ten Hag has said several times that if he feels like he's not picking young players willy-nilly, if he feels they're good enough, they'll play. You know, but what we need in that midfield is we need midfielders that are physical and are fast at the very least. We need to inject some pace into that midfield. I've got no doubt that Amenu would have tracked back that run and stopped Eriksen. And stopped that marked that run, but Eriksen can't. Like, who was it? I think it was it Gnabry or something that just ran past. He actually, you saw him. He ran past Eriksen. That shouldn't happen, you know. So it is what it is. But yeah, one of the best of Manu. I think he needs to keep. Nah, come on. You can't say that he needs. You can't say you can't say he needs a new club when he's not even had a few. We haven't seen Manu play yet. So we have a. I see the situation as like, as soon as him and Amrabat are back, Eriksen and McTominay are not sniffing the starting lineup. I think there's potential, and as we've seen with like Palestri, Hannibal, and some of our young players, I think we can give them a chance. Our recruitment of getting younger, good, talented players, or player they want to field and play, wants to play for the badge, want the money and play. Yeah, exactly. That's one of the reasons why we saw with Hannibal against Brighton. Like, we need to give these young players a chance, because, to be honest, the hope that I've seen from this season has come from the youth. It's come from seeing Rasmus do his thing. It's come from Palestri, even preseason in Maino and Ahmad. The senior players, to be honest, the ones that are disappointing. And for me, that's actually a bit quite worrying, because aside from maybe Varane when he was fit, all the other senior players, and okay, Wan-Bissaka, I guess, all the other senior players have been disappointing, and that's not cool. Right, let's round things up, guys. So yeah, disappointing result, but we really shot ourselves in the foot there. But I do believe they're positive to take from this game and roll on Burnley, and hopefully, touch wood, we have a positive result against Burnley and we can move. If we don't get a positive result against Burnley, then I think that, yeah, probably it's time to panic, man. Probably it's time to panic. Thanks again for watching, guys. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe if you're new. Smash the notification button. We're also at 4K subscribers. 4K. Thank you so much for all those who are subscribing at 4K. Really appreciate it. I'll be doing some sort of 4K celebration thing at some point, but thanks you guys for all your ongoing support. Like I said, I try and create a positive. I ultimately want this fan channel to be, yes, people can be emotional and express and stuff like that, but I also want it to also be a nice community for people to share their thoughts in a respectful way, to debate, to discuss, etc., and to really kind of be a means to be a positive fan channel and not a toxic one like so many fan channels are. So I appreciate you guys making the community positive, and I thank you guys so much for watching and supporting the channel. Have a nice day, everyone, and cheers. Peace.